Hey there, we're Nigel and Sue, and we've been living in this van travelling Australia for the last 2 years. We've made it 2/3 of the way around the country so far. We've seen some incredible places and made some unforgettable memories. We've met some beautiful people and had a few not so fun times too. We absolutely love this lifestyle, and in this episode we're sharing our story, why we live in a van. Join us as we visit the highlights and the hidden gems of this beautiful country.
Hey friends, we're Nigel and Sue, and here we are in our van.
And today we wanted to answer a question that we get asked quite a lot. Today we want to talk about why we live in a van. So we were talking about it this morning, and we have shared our story of how we got here a couple of times on different podcast episodes, but we've never actually shared it with you guys on YouTube. So we wanted to do that today.
So how did we meet? Many years ago. Was it 30 years ago?
29. Yeah.
Yesterday.
We met in 1994.
In Europe.
Yeah.
I was a driver.
And I was a tour manager. We were working together for Kentucky.
Living the dream.
Coach tour holidays for 18 to 35-year-olds.
Just the best job out.
It was such an amazing experience. I did 5 years. Nigel, you were there for how long?
10 years on and off.
They couldn't get rid of him.
Yeah, couldn't get rid of me.
So we did a couple of tours together while we were working for Kentucky. But, you know, fate had different plans for us, I guess. I came back to Australia, got married, had a couple of kids. I was working as a freelance makeup artist in TV and commercial makeup for many years. And Nigel went off and, well...
Yeah, well, I knew that I couldn't stick around forever with that job in Europe, driving tour buses, and as much as I loved it, I investigated a career change in aviation and went about learning how to fly a helicopter, which I've been doing since the year 2000. It's been over 23 years now.
We were really great friends when we were back at Kentucky, but obviously we lost touch as Nigel went back to New Zealand and took up his helicopter career, and I was in Australia. But then, thanks to Facebook, we reconnected around 2012, and I remember I was watching Nigel was about to go off and do this crazy adventure, and I was so enthralled by what Nigel was doing. Now, I was actually single by that time. Do you want to tell our friends what you did?
I've been a kite surfer since I moved over to Australia in 2005. Whilst I wasn't super experienced, I consider myself experienced enough to join in this adventure, kite surfing across the Torres Strait to Papua New Guinea, and then following that with is it 80 kilometres, I believe, the Kokoda track.
So Nigel came back from the adventure, and at that time he was living in Perth but doing some contract work in Brisbane where I was living. So I sent him a message on Facebook because I wanted to know more about this adventure, and I'm like, let's go out for dinner.
The rest is history.
We've been together ever since. Fast forward. So Nigel moved over to Brisbane and continued flying helicopters, and that was pretty interesting because, you know, you'd done this crossing to PNG, and then of course
I ended up working in Papua New Guinea. It was a good 6 years, maybe more, yeah.
And then went and worked in
Indonesia. So yeah, we had a life of basically 4 on 4 off for me, while Sue was at home with the boys and then on her own at times.
Now, I had this 5-year plan that involved me taking a year off and going travelling, and I decided that I wanted to go travelling in South America. So I'd been doing a whole lot of research, watching lots of YouTubes. Most of the people that I was watching were travelling around South America in vans. So we were watching Max and Lee, Eamon and Beck, Trent and Ali.
Italian couple, lovely couple.
Leave Everything and Wonder.
Yeah.
Sarah and Luca.
Beautiful couple, yeah.
All those guys who were living the dream down there in South America in their vans. And I just wanted a part of that. I'm like, what a great way to travel. Nigel had been to South America before, so he wasn't quite excited about the idea.
But I had a great job, you know, and but then when COVID hit and I had to endure quarantines in Sydney hotels, and then going back again to work, it really took the enjoyment out of it for me. And
I don't know how, Nigel and I, when the pandemic hit and a lot of people were going, oh, it'll all be over in 6 months. And we just kind of knew, somehow we just knew that it was going to be a couple of years before we would be able to travel overseas. And something just clicked in my mind, and I thought, everyone in Australia is going to be travelling domestically. There's going to be a huge demand for vans and caravans. And so Nigel got back from a long tour, the end of April in 2020, and the first night I said to him, I've got this idea. And Nigel, just knowing me, just goes, oh God, what now? And I said, we should buy a van and build it out, because we'll be able to sell it and make money, because everybody's going to want to be travelling in a van.
And I thought, yeah, why the hell not?
So initially for us, it was an investment. We weren't able to work. I couldn't work. My career had been put on hold. Nigel had chosen not to go back because of all these quarantines. So we weren't working, and I was worried that I would start spending this money that I'd been saving for my South America trip. And I'm like, I have to invest it.
Just turn things around, you know, like we knew in our gut there was going to be a gong show, which it's proven to be, and we just kind of figured, how can we turn this not so great situation into a good one, and which is how we've ended up where we are right now. And I'd never, you know, built a van before, and neither had Sue obviously, and so we went in pretty green. I've had experience renovating houses. Sue's pretty handy on the paintbrush, and
I often said I was the project manager and the apprentice. But I mean, the great thing was, remember Nigel, like, you know, you look at people who've been trying to buy vans over the last couple of years. We decided to buy one. We looked at 3 and we
bought the third.
Bought the third, and we bought the van within like 2 weeks of Nigel being home.
Yeah.
Practically, we just decided and we did it. And
the stars were aligned.
Yeah, and it's a 4-wheel drive, a 4x4 Sprinter van. They're as rare as hen's teeth. And
we had a dude trying to buy it off us as soon as we bought it.
Yeah, that's right.
So then we knew that, you know, okay, we've done all right.
We got it for a song, really. So we paid $30,500 for the van.
Which was a fair price at the time.
It was, absolutely.
You know, like we didn't, you know, it wasn't a giveaway.
We then spent, how long did it take us to build it out?
Well, 5.5 months we worked it out to be.
Yeah. I think we worked on the van for about a month. So we pretty much got it stripped out. I think we'd started feeding a bit of the wiring, and we'd done some of the battens. Yeah, we had like real basic stuff.
Yeah, I did have one more tour.
12 weeks he was away.
Yeah.
And then while Nigel was away, I couldn't do that much. I mean, I did, I got the ceiling.
You painted all the wall panels.
I painted all the ceiling, I painted all the wall panels, I did all the insulation, but I really couldn't do that much more without Nigel there. So, but when he came back, we just went at it full tilt pretty much, didn't we? And
starting with the shower, because everything kind of had to work out from there.
Yeah. And we've got a few videos on the build. Unfortunately, we lost a hard drive which had all of our...
Oh, it did?
Yeah, that's why we were never able to finish that series of videos. So we learned a lesson the hard way there. Always have 2 backups, people. Yeah, so we finished the van and hit the road in January 2021. So this is it, the beginning of van life. How do you feel, Nige?
Exhausted. Well, you've lived in it a lot longer than I have, because I've been away, but...
Yeah, so initially we kind of didn't really have too much of a plan about what we were going to do. We just thought we were doing it as an investment. We'd see a bit of Australia, and we're still going.
Yeah, we concentrated in Queensland initially because we kind of figured that the borders were going to be
Well,
become a real issue, which they did.
Yeah.
So we stayed in Queensland, explored that, had a great time at the time exploring Queensland.
Mm.
And then when the borders opened up, away we went on our loop.
And what we really didn't expect was how much we were going to love this lifestyle. When we moved into the van, I pretty much sold most of my stuff and moved out of the rental. Nigel has a house in Brisbane.
But I guess I consider myself a bit of a nomad anyway. I've been living on my own for so bloody long.
Mm.
And my work, and it's not a bad thing, has allowed me to work and travel in different parts of the globe. And so the lifestyle for me, I guess, probably wasn't too big of an adjustment.
Mm.
And nor so for you, because you like to get out and about.
Yeah. I've always loved exploring. Yeah, we just love our tiny home, and it just kind of got to the point where it's like, well, let's see as much of Australia as we can while we've got the van, and
tick it off.
Yeah, we've just kind of kept going, I guess. We're really fortunate in that behind Nigel's house, in the backyard of Nigel's house, is a
Man cave.
A shed / granny flat, which we affectionately call the man cave. That was where we built the van. There are tenants in the house, Mark and Christine, and we absolutely love them, and gosh, we hope they never moved, don't we?
big shout out to you guys, Mark and Christine, if you're listening, if you're watching.
They actually now have bought their own van, which we think is the coolest thing ever.
So cool.
And so we've got, Nigel's still got his car, which is in the man cave. We've still got a bit of furniture there. And we do go back there for short stints from time to time. I'm actually heading back there next week. So you might be wondering, and I do often get asked, do I miss my kids? What's happening with my kids? So I've got 2 sons. My eldest son has moved to London, Luke. He's been there for about 9 months now. And my youngest son, Nick, is still living in Brisbane. He's about to go over to the US and do a stint as a summer camp counsellor over there. So, I'm really proud of both of the boys, that they've both kind of taken on a life of adventure as well. To answer that question, I do miss them incredibly, and I'm really looking forward to seeing them in a couple of weeks. The other question is, how do we manage to afford it? The reality is that Nigel is still working.
We decided it would make sense for me to go back to full-time work, and I've got a new job that I'm taking up soon that involves 6 weeks on, 6 weeks off. Great space of time for us to continue our video creating and travelling and adventuring around Australia as we complete our loop. And number 2, gives us money.
It's a pretty good full-time job, hey, when you're 6 weeks on, 6 weeks off. While Nigel's here, we'll be going travelling, getting through the rest of our lap of Australia. And when he's not here, he'll be working, earning money, and I'll be in the van working, editing videos, writing blog posts, and also trying to secure sponsorships.
Yeah, but the ultimate goal that what we're doing, our lifestyle that we've chosen for ourselves, will sustain our on-road expenses.
To talk about why we love this lifestyle, why we've chosen to keep going, I think both of us has just really, it's really opened our eyes to alternative living. We love this lifestyle.
We've both become very disconnected with city life. We'd far rather be wild camping in the middle of a state forest, for example, totally off grid, and all we can hear is the birds tweeting,
waves crashing.
Yeah, that's what we love. And the van life that we have, it's given us the ability to, the words that we had recently from an Indigenous friend of ours was look, listen, feel. And we've latched onto that just recently. We just love that. So yeah, just being out in nature, look, listen and feel it. And you can't do that when you're living in a city.
And I guess the distinction that we make is, and it's funny because, often we'll be like, if we're leaving somewhere or whatever, and someone will turn to us and say, enjoy your holiday. And that's the big distinction. For us, this is not a holiday. You know, we've been going for 2.25 years now. Be a pretty long holiday. This is actually a way of life for us.
My mum still says, when are you back? back from where?
Back where? You know,
G'day,
back
Mum.
to what?
Yeah. She doesn't say it so much now. I think she gets it. This is, you know, where we live.
This is our home.
Yeah, it's small. So this van has given us the ability to realise, you know what, you don't need a lot of stuff.
We still have stuff back in the house.
I know, too much. Oh yeah. Okay. That is a point. Like, you know, we've both got, you know, family heirlooms, photos, and things like that. So, yeah, that'd be a good question. You know.
Yeah. There's always that stuff that you want to hold on to.
Yeah. So you need a store. If you didn't have a house or a man cave, you'd still want maybe some storage area to hold your items that you don't want to obviously carry with you.
Your valuables and things, yeah. What's the top 3 things you love about living in a van, Nige?
Top 3 things. Well, freedom first of all comes to mind. If you don't like where you are, you can always just turn the key and drive somewhere else. It's opened up, particularly with 4-wheel drive, it's opened up some camping spots that would otherwise be unattainable.
For me, the biggest thing I love about it is just being somewhere different all the time and always having my home with me. We've travelled a lot in the past, and even while we've been in the van, we've had short stints where we've, you know, just recently we went back to the Northern Territory and we did a road trip there, but we were in a car and staying in hotels, and we realised how much more convenient it is travelling in a van, because when you're out in a national park for the day, you don't have your kitchen with you or your bathroom with you or, you know, everything with you. So we just travel with our whole life
it's just
with
coming
us.
here's number 3 for me, coming off a bike ride and we can put the bikes back in the garage and we can have a shower, get cleaned up, make a sandwich, cup of tea, and it's all there. That's what I love about that. Yeah, and that comes with that freedom of being able to have your house with you as you go. It's great. And look, and number 4, we've met some awesome people who are doing the same thing. We've made some great friends. We're going to catch up with 2 of them today. Like-minded people and mostly younger than us, which is definitely not a hurdle. We've just met some beautiful people.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I can't see changing this lifestyle.
No.
For a while. Lastly, it's what is the future going to look like for us? So with Nigel now being away 6 weeks on, 6 weeks off, the plan is we've kind of mapped out the rest of our lap of Australia. And here's the thing, our plans are always loose plans because they're always changing.
My tour could change. Yeah.
But at the moment, the plan is for us to complete our lap of Australia over the next 12 months, and which will have us arriving back into Brisbane sometime around April, May 2024. And then we will... I don't want to say it.
Got a few ideas.
The van might hear and be upset.
Yeah, well...
Yeah. But yeah, the work, you know, once we've finished and seen everything we want to see in Australia, the plan is to go and check out the rest of the world.
Yeah, so eventually, should we say? Yeah, so eventually this van is going to be up for sale, which is going to stir up some emotions,
I know.
I'm sure. It's going to be... It might be a bit of dust in the eyes as we see it driving down the road.
Oh, don't stop!
But you know, I'm sure it'll fall into the right hands and create some wonderful memories for somebody else.
So yeah, if you guys have got any further questions, when we took some notes, we were talking about. Nigel wrote down what we don't love about it. I think we'll do. There are a couple of things. We'll do another video about that another time.
Yeah, I'm going through one of those at the moment.
But on the whole, like I
Bloody
wouldn't.
Chinese diesel heaters.
On the whole, I wouldn't change this lifestyle. I love it.
No, it's good.
So that's it. Why we live in a van.
Hope
Thanks.
you enjoyed this episode. Leave comments below. We'd love to hear from you. And we'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye.